Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Lucid, and we're jumping back into the game with the Yomi throne rush going on here in Mountain Arena. We'll start with a message from Micklin. What a cool throne rush. At least 16 Dione hidden by Shade Mail. Oh, we didn't check the gear. It looks like it was Shade Mail. Probably a few more bonus mages who'll magic phase in. I feel vindicated being worried about a Yomi throne rush, though I didn't manage to plan what I need in time. The precise timing is somewhat unlucky for Yomi. I'm the only one with a real chance of stopping Yomi at the Agartha throne at 1. Next turn, my plan was to move my Pretender to lead the advance on Tianqi. Had that occurred, I would not be in position to do anything serious. But because it's a forest throne and my Pretender is still in Waywoods, I can bring 100 Ocelotl with me. This is almost certainly using Fairy Trod. Some key boosters are outside labs. Others are supposed to be forged this very turn, etc. But that's how it always is. One opposes a throne rush with the army you have. A nice bonus for me is that Tianqi revealed that they already have demonic cleansing, in discussing what he can bring against Yomi's other new throne. So I've been saved from discovering that fact the hard way. This magic phase attack script was definitely a puzzle. You'll see the final script, so I'll just talk about the constraints. I have gear and nearby mages to bring a Moonpraise 2 Nahuli, my Pretender, and one more Nature 2 boosted to Nature 5 to cast Fairy Trod. The 2 Nahuli will need to be Communion Slaves. It's the only way for me to cast Divine Blessing with the Moon Priest. Divine Blessing is his second spell, since with the fast casting crown, it otherwise go off before the Communion Slaves join. Defensively, I really want Will of Fate's turn 1. These Dione will delete my Gift of Health boosted Aussies with a single swing. I decided to prioritize that turn 1 and get Bloodlust, Divine Blessing, and Doom out as the rest of my first 2 Crown of Magi turns. I'm bringing a few dozen Jaguar Warriors too. I'm hoping to paint them with Quickening, Army of Giants, Strength of Giants to serve as extra hard hitters. I can't get Weapons of Sharpness this turn, so I'm grabbing Evocation 5 for Gift of Heaven. With 2 Petrify casters and Ravenous Swarm, there's some potential to win or rout the enemy even if my troops don't do the job. I don't know how Ravenous Swarm will work. I think that goes after Undead, not... Oh... That will target the second form, where they're undead as a ghost. Very clever, I hadn't thought of that. What I'm bringing to the throne, though it's non-magic damage, the Ravenous Swarm, so it'll miss a lot against Ethereal. What I'm bringing to the throne should readily kill the 8 Dione with his current gear. But if Yomi is clever, he'll already have scouts to deliver heavier chest armor and a Staff of the Storms, so he can get the buffs scripts off. Teleport in some extra mages to do Legions of Steel and the like. And I'm not all that confident this will work. I also need to mention that I'm being extremely exposed. I'll be extremely exposed with hundreds of gems of gear on mages who will just be asking to be shot at with seeking arrows, and there's nothing I can do about that. I'm also securing my unforted throne with a wizard tower. Glad to have both the research and gems to put it up this turn. I'll also attack the Throne of Air with the modest forest, towards the Throne of Air with a modest forest, but Yomi already has Alteration 7 and Dione in that province, so I'm assuming he'll have Iron Walls up. Okay. It's the end of the Micklin messages. From Tirnanog. Hey Lucid, that battle went great for me, but unfortunately I didn't get to capitalize. Turns out Yomi's positioned to win, so a coalition has been formed and all other wars have to be put on hold until this existential threat has been answered. So my elves get to go from celebrating their victory over the burning children and pantless mud slugs, oh, that's magma kids, to marching towards the land of the demons, even without the chance to take the cool house they were at and the party inside. Anyway, I look forward to hearing your commentary on the big battle. Yeah, we might should even go back and watch it, because what it looked like to me was a bunch of lightning bolt casting with good sacreds, but there may have been more I missed. We kind of went through it quickly. I'm glad at least that I managed to do something cool towards the end. Thanks for your time. Excellent. Message from Laka. Hey guys, I don't know what's more annoying, Agartha bopping around in my land or Yomi throne rushing. I'm sending a squad of 4 brave souls to try to rout a Dione blind. We're going into number 11, blind on intel from Micklin. If his play works, then supposedly this should result in 3 additional dead Dione. No idea if it will or not. On the Agarthan front, I'm gonna guess he'll consolidate his army this turn, but if he keeps sitting on my capital, that would be acceptable. If he storms it, I should at least be able to trap his consolidated army inside with a stack that can kill it. A ton of reinforcements from the south are en route and should power an offense into Agartha if Yomi doesn't win. If Micklin's play fails and Yomi takes it, hat tip. He was really on the clock, saw his opening, and went for it. GG? Question mark. Well, let's find out. We're going to have a bunch of magic phase attacks here at the beginning. It looks like the first one is going to be Micklin. So this is Micklin almost certainly casting Fairy Trod with his god. And he's got quite the setup. He's traded for a TNG Sword of the 5 Elements for reinvigoration. He's got 4 pin. He's a Communion Master, and he's got a bunch of MR, despite his Dominion penalty. And he's got a bunch of Aussies. On this side, we don't really have much more. I don't think anything magic phased in except for this guy. Who probably is going to do Will of Fates. And so that was the only X factor, I think. So let's take a look. Will of Fate's not as great on Yomi. So we have Doom going off and Will of Fates. Now, the caster of Will of Fates is the god. Okay. Are these guys blessed yet? They are not blessed yet, but they have landed. And they don't have magic weapons, so they're not going to kill the second form until Will of Divine Blessing goes off. Okay, and now the Blessing is hit. And so to remind everyone, that's going to give them 2 attack, magic weapon, shock resistance, fire, cold, defense 2, bark skin, undying, strength 6. So this next attack will do a lot more. And they don't get any kind of like charge bonus or something. And oh my god, they just die. Because they haven't really gotten to finish their script. They've got Temper Flesh off. And what did this guy cast? Anti-magic. I thought he would have been doing Will of Fates, which helps a little bit, but it's not going to change much in this fight. But having a god that could Fairy Trot on that throne is so intense. Phoenix Pyre going off. And most of the Dione are dying now. They're in their second form. And they've managed to escape. So, yeah, he loses 7 Aussies to kill 5 Dione, and then the supporting mage cast. May have been that if there was a storm staff present, the Dione could have buffed themselves up enough to survive this. And while on paper it doesn't look like that's possible, I think it might have been, right? Like, we don't know what all of the things that could have been cast, like certainly Soul Vortex would have helped. I don't know if he got Iron Skin off. That certainly would have helped a lot, because I don't think we had a lot of weapons of sharpness coming out. We might have had one with the gnome. Let's watch it again, just because this basically just saved the game. Game was about to be over. Let's see what these guys are casting. We're kind of watching the Micklin at the start. So they really just got Blessing off. And also, if he knew that he was going to get, like, if he knew what the attack was, which, he didn't, would have been a lot better to put the Dione in the same tile. And then you also wouldn't have to have wasted all of their first turns on Blessing. You could have cast Temper Flesh and stuff. Yeah, so basically they all had the same script, and it was Blessing, Temper Flesh. If they were all in adjacent tiles, it'd be a lot less area of attack. Like, these... they'd get picked off a lot more slowly. think he's doing Army of Giants back here on some of these guys. And then there goes Rush of Strength or Bloodlust. I mean, they're very killy. Just so much damage per tile. Could they have made it, though? That is the question. Could they have survived? They're only holy one. I think they might have. There's a few things that were like suboptimal here from Yomi's perspective that might have made this work. One of them Micklin had mentioned in his message, which is if you were going to go all in like this, proper play would be that you brought in scouts that had Armor of the Knights or something like that, and they would swap out the Shade Mails. Now, there's multiple reasons for doing that. One is these Shade Mails are 15 gems, and Armor of Knights is 5. So if they die, you're going to, not lose all your Shade Mails, which is nice. The other reason is they're a lot better armor. So you put them on, you have a much better chance at surviving the Aussies. I think without that, it'd be really hard. Would have also been cool if you had some Naminari or whatever to do Enlarge on some of them, or maybe Army of Giants if you hit them if they were all clustered up. Would have extra been cool if you had Ghosts or something to stack in the same tile. And you could have done maybe Iron Warriors turn ones, hit the Ghosts. I don't know. I think this could have been done better. I think, honestly, Armor of Knights might have been the biggest miss. And then spreading them out, second biggest miss. And because they're spread out, they each had to do their own blessing. If they weren't spread out, you probably could have had half of them do something else. Probably the corner people wouldn't do blessing, because the corner people are more exposed. They would do Temper Flesh turn 1 and then Iron Skin or whatever. So... But as it stands, they were not prepared. And honestly, do you really expect Fairy Trod by Micklin? Like, the god has to be with a pile of 100 Aussies on the turn you happen to pop out and do your Throne Rush in a labbed forest. What are the odds? Apparently the odds were high enough. So now Lanka's attacking Yomi. He's got a magic phase sort of communion. He's only got one communion slave, it looks like. Unless I'm missing it. Is there somebody else? Communion master, communion slave. There's a single communion slave, so he's not boosting pass. He's just acting as a fatigue sink. Then he's got Wailing Winds, Howl. I assume he's going to be on Advance and Cast. And he's getting a lot of poison. Holy Word, Smite Demon. I'm not clear how Lanka's going to actually win this. There's casting Stream of Life. That has a check to kill. It's possible Stream of Life kills him, but I think that's just going to put him in the next form. Oh, no, Battle Time. Oh, Battle Time's out, but he survives. I don't know if these guys made it off the battlefield or not. We'll watch it again just to see. Certainly the slave wouldn't have, because he'll fatigue out. Okay, let's speed through this. And they're about to start running, and they're running. Okay, the mages do not run off. That's significant. That means there's not a chance that they died. Well, there is in the normal phase. We'll see if there's any troop movement here. Miklin attacking this from Agartha. Agartha attacking this from Lanka. Hal being cast. Lanka summoning a bunch of imps, but I don't think that's going to matter here very much. Okay. TNG attacking Yomi. Let's look at this TNG army. We haven't seen TNG moving around much. Agartha attacking Yomi. Ooh, these sylphs are gonna, yeah. Yeah, sylphs are good. Spooky. Okay. These are mercs, by the way. They're one of the better kind of like player versus player mercs. Agartha being attacked by, or attacking Independence. He's got some manticores, which are great for spreading fear. Apparently they're also good at catching on fire. This is one mana core and a bunch of magma kids. It's not very clean. Magma kids don't have much armor, so they do kind of not like this, like centaurs with arrows, and yeah, that's what mostly killed them. These guys with these longbows gonna plink through a lot of magma kids. And Miklin attacking Yomi here. Falling Frost, very effective here. I don't know if you saw that. This guy's just wrecking dudes. Okay. Loses 3 Aussies and otherwise a tiny bit of chaff. Kills a decent amount of Yomi free spawn. This was a normal phase move by Yomi to reinforce this position here. So he was expecting to have this guy run into a bunch of Dione. And Agartha attacks Yomi here where there's a single Dione. Yeah, I think these birds are just going to HP out the Dione, right? Yeah, okay. And Lanka and Agartha have a showdown. Now, Agartha's been taking a bit of a beating. Is this the stack with the god? This is not. Let's see what Agartha has on some of these mages. He's got... I mean, this guy's clearly got some gems. I don't know what he's going to do. Doesn't have fire gems, just pearls. And this guy could do... I think you, with an Earth 2 with 1 gem, can do Marble Warriors. So I think we're going to see some Marble Warriors. And then this guy's a Gym Mule. It's pretty dangerous to have a Gym Mule participating in combat like that. I mean, this is a lot of mages. This is way more mages from Lanka. Hal being cast, pretty sure that's Lanka. Yogini. Ooh, Shadow Blast coming out, that's gonna hurt. Paralyzes a bunch of these guys as the Draconians jump in. A bunch of imps. Oh man. And Lanka's been getting these Jade Amazons, and they're really good because they're sacred. So they take a Lanka bless pretty well. The quickness and magic weapons. I mean, this Lanka build is so killy. Like with Bloodlust, and they just get in melee. I mean, it's disgusting, especially with all these imps. I mean, holy shit. I mean, it's just brutal. Thunderstrike's coming in. That's so brutal. I think we saw some Drain Lives too. I mean, look at this. Just stomps this Agarthan army. I think Agartha is basically out of the game. I think this is... I mean, he lost some other stuff fighting Yomi. I think he's at half the army size he was a turn or two ago, or more. Oh my god. Yeah, Agartha's done. Agartha's done. I mean, they haven't lost much land. They've lost some, but... Jeez Louise, he's in trouble, because the elves want to eat him, and they're probably in a position to. Lanka was defending against him, and Lanka's probably going to turn around and eat him too. Thing is, Agartha looking like food is going to make, with his army basically all gone, is going to make it really hard to turn on Miklin now too, who I think with all these Dione dying, where's Yomi? It doesn't look like a bunch, but a lot of this was Dione. Not a lot, but a significant amount. So the throne rush has been stopped. The throne rush has been stopped. Where was the throne? So this was the Agartha throne that got saved. Now, Agartha and Miklin aren't fighting. So I expect to see Miklin move off of this. But, given the game state, if they don't have a non-aggression pact, Agartha doesn't have anything he could possibly use to defend it. And this would be a really nice throne for Miklin to have. If they don't have a non-aggression pact, I don't think there's much reason for Miklin to not take it. Other than just being friendly. Which is a fine reason to not take it. If you and Agartha are friendly... and blah, 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 don't take it. And it's likely he doesn't know all the things that we know as omniscience, which is that Agartha has no more armies to speak of. So, if he did, if he knew all that, like, Yomi's not a threat. Like, who's really going to fight Miklin that isn't currently fighting him? Lanka, potentially. But Lanka wants to eat Agartha now, too, I think. Right? And certainly all their stuff has been stuck back here dealing with it. And I think, honestly, Miklin can handle dealing with Lanka. Really, it's Tianchi that's a free agent. And that's who Miklin already is concerned with. Yomi, probably looking a bit like food. They have still a bunch of their chaff units. But I think Miklin has probably a pretty good plan to handle these guys. I think really you're like looking at dealing with Tianchi and a little bit of Lanka. I think you probably take this and just start going ham. I think this is like the Miklin time to go. Right, you take this, you come take these forts back, you start fighting into Yomi. What that would do is it would trigger Tianchi needs to move. I think you have enough stuff over here, especially Lanka's going to probably want to keep this piece. Right, even if you start going ham, Lanka's going to probably want to be doing other stuff than pick a fight. I mean, they'd have to move all their things down here and fight you again, which I'm sure they don't want to do. Which means this army is free to defend against Tianchi, which I think it can do. So I think you take this opportunity as Miklin and just start going ham. Take this, eat Agartha stuff, eat Yomi stuff, and defend against Tianchi. I think that's the play. Because Agartha has now kind of overplayed their hand. Yomi is now in a very hard way, or bad way. While they certainly can fight, and by the way, they can fight pretty well. Like, these guys... Miklin has stuff that isn't demons, as he was saying. So, like, demonic cleansing in some ways is going to hurt Yomi more. Especially with some of the battlefield wives, because he won't have resistances. But... I mean, Kooni can be pretty good, especially with, like, weapons of sharpness on them. Anyhow, I think there's more Yomi can do. But Yomi's lost a ton of their Dione. So I think a lot of the wind has left their sails for that reason. So I don't know. It's very interesting. I think the people set up to profit most, as we just said, are Miklin. Lanka, I think, is about to have a good time. They've got one army here they've got to deal with, which honestly could take a while if he has a hard time predicting where it goes. And this army's probably big enough, because it's got the god in it. This army's probably big enough. Wait, why don't we see... I don't know why we don't see the god in this report, but This army's probably big enough. He has to commit at least half of this stack to deal with it. He could probably take the other stack and run over here and start taking Agartha stuff. Where's his other big army? His other big army is here. Honestly, he can't really commit this too far away from the TNG Micklin front. Because the TNN Micklin front. If TNN ever decides to go on him, or if he has to go on Micklin, he kind of needs to keep this stuff nearby. TNN, I think with the Throne Rush averted, should go immediately back on the offensive here against Agartha and eat them. So they're definitely set up to profit a lot. I think this is when, too, you would look to do very aggressive raiding and things. Like what you would try to do as TNN right now is over, hit, 4 or 5 provinces at a minimum a turn, right? So really start picking them apart. Because there's just not much Agartha stuff over here. So, yeah, hopefully TNN can profit. This is, if they take this moment, they probably are mobilizing stuff over here to go after Yomi, though. Which I think makes sense in a way, but I think Yomi's going to be looking for peace. So I think you just play at peace with Yomi. The Throne Rush is over, and you go eat Agartha. Now, that's with the knowledge we have as omniscience. If I were playing in the game, I might not know that Agartha is going to be a much, much softer target than Yomi, most likely. So anyway, I think the TNG move, or the TNN move, would be to resume the war with Agartha. Very interesting, though. Let's go ahead and look at the next turn. Well, actually, that's probably it for this episode. We're at 25 minutes, so I think we'll call it there, and we'll see you next time. Until then, take care.